What's happening, guys? I'm Dan. Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on the video. It's been a minute. I'm finally back. I've been traveling. I've been really busy. Life has just gotten in the way of beer reviews, guys. Sometimes life comes first. Life as a father comes first, beer second. So haven't really been drinking much beer lately. I'm going to be honest, it's been like almost 2 weeks. So thought it was a good occasion to break into a beer with you today because you know what? It's what I do every year when this comes out. It is the Lagunitas Willettized Coffee Stout, aged in rye oak barrels. We try to get this every single year it comes out, guys, because it's one of the best bourbon barrel aged beers you're going to get for the buck that you pay for it, okay? This is usually like $12.99, $13.99. We live in a world where everything costs so much now, especially these big bourbon barrel aged beers. Still incredible value. This year, quick differences. Packaging looks a little bit different because you know what? I have last year's right next to it. So take a look. Just a little bit different, a little bit more updated, a little bit different print. But last year was actually 13.1%, at least the version I got in Michigan. And this one is 12.4% this year, so a little bit less ABV. 2023 highly limited release. Yeah, I mean, again, I look for these specifically every year, and it seems like sometimes you can get them, mostly, and then other times there was a few times I couldn't. So I'm happy I got it. And one other difference, this was a 6-pack this year. Last year was a 4-pack. So those are the differences, guys. Let's dive in since I only have a few minutes to review with you. So hope you guys are doing well. I'm doing pretty good myself. So here we go. A little smoke coming off. And look at that. A little bit of brown, darkish cola in the glass. Looks really nice. Yeah, you got that nice khaki head sitting on top. A little bit of carbonation streaming to the top. Yeah, it's darkness. Again, I don't think we have to go into too much detail. That's what we're looking for in this beer. Yeah, it's been a year. I've actually reviewed this aged. If you know me by now, you know that I like these when they're fresh. So this was just released into northern Michigan distribution, like literally today or this week in general. So I'm going to try to get this review out for you guys today because, again, I'm just very busy. So making a special occasion for you today to get this out. So let's go to an aroma. Oh, baby. Man. So there's definitely like a fudgy chocolate in here, like almost like I'd say like a chocolate cake just buried underneath. A little bit of those bourbon notes, a little bit of that oaky, peppery spice, but it's very subtle. I'd say it's more chocolatey, ganache. And then the coffee's kind of colliding with the chocolate in a really nice way. It just seems like it's desserty, yet Starbucks, you know, in your palate, in your nose. It's got the fresh roasted beans, just espresso notes, just really nice roast and char to this as well. Nice, just dark molasses kind of maltiness as well. So everything just flowing really well in this 12.4% beer. Usually, again, these are one of the best bourbon barrel-aged stouts you're going to get, but I will say I love rye, and it seems like as I get older, I really appreciate rye oak barrels. It's just something that tickles my fancy, if you will. So one more sniff. Just again, chocolate cake, a little bit of fudge, a little bit of ganache, lots of espresso notes, a little bit of roast, a little bit of vanilla, a little bit of just subtle desserty quality in this beer. So I don't know. Let's dive in, guys. It's the Lagunitas Willettized Coffee Stout. Once again, 2023. Cheers. Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby. There's that peppery spice on the back end. I like it. So it's definitely like a little bit desserty. I'd say it's not as like dry and roasty as like maybe some of the other versions of this were, at least off my first impressions. Mouth feels pretty good. It's definitely pretty thick and oily, but at the same time, sometimes these are a dash lighter on the mouthfeel. It adds a little bit of drinkability, which I do like. But it does have like a slippery, buttery, oily mouthfeel as well. So this actually goes down really well at 12.4, a little bit of warming in the chest. Not a lot, but you are picking up a little bit of that woody oakiness, a little bit of that rye spice, subtle peppery kind of quality, the black peppercorn flakes in your mouth. It collides with the dessert notes really well. So Yes, there's lots of coffee, but I do still think there's nice notes of chocolate in here, like that ganache, fudge, milk chocolate, vanilla, like all really flowing into this beer. Man, I would like to compare these. Maybe that would be fun to do also. Maybe see what the differences are between this 2022 and 2023. I feel like I should have watched my review, but I don't know. Maybe that makes it biased then. So I would like to see what I saw and felt about this beer last year. I will say, I think that there's actually a little bit less coffee than I remember. Like, the coffee just doesn't seem as pronounced in this beer. It's there, but I think I want a little bit more roast. I want a little bit more like Arabica coffee, a little bit more espresso notes just flowing into this. It seems a little bit subdued. I mean, I don't want to say it's lackluster because I'm a coffee lover and maybe I've just grown to love coffee too much, whereas if I don't get enough of it, I could have a flawed opinion because I like it so much. So maybe it's the right amount, but for me, I actually want a little bit more in this beer. But I will say this slippery, buttery mouthfeel, really nice the way this goes down the palate. I would say the oaky rye barrel, it's not overdone either. Like it's just the right amount. But again, I love rye and oak and wood. And do I want more? Potentially, but then it could take away the drinkability. A little bit of like dark licorice in here and maybe a dash of leather. I mean, it's not cold. This isn't super warm either. I guess it was in my car for a little bit, but I bought it warm. It seems like it's got a little bit of chill to it. Maybe I want a little bit less. Maybe it'll open up a little bit more too as it warms up a dash more. But in my opinion, I think I want more coffee in this beer. It does have a good amount of chocolate. It has a nice bit of like malty, chocolatey molasses. I do like the desserty kind of chocolate notes in this beer. But yeah, I think I want maybe a dash more coffee in this beer. I want maybe a touch more barrel. But again, it could be a little cold. It could be a dash not warm enough. Very silky mouthfeel. I will say this mouthfeel, and I keep going back to like cake and butter and just dessert. It's really going down really well. And there is nice dry roastiness to this beer, which I do like. I don't like when they're just sugar bombs. That's not what this is. It is bringing that dry roasty quality on the back end. A little bit of dark chocolate bitterness as well, easing its way into the barrel. This is still, for the price, one of the best beers you're going to get, guys, at $12, $13, $14 even for a six pack of this Willettized. It doesn't get much better. So will I say that this is the best version of Willettized I've had? That I'm not sure of. So maybe I want a little bit more coffee. Maybe I want maybe a touch more of the barrel on this. Maybe just a dash more of that other layer underneath all of those things that just adds a touch more complexity. But again, this is a fantastic beer for the price. I'd have to look back at my other reviews. Maybe I would go higher in prior years. I don't know, but maybe it's not up to par as I remember in other years. So, I mean, usually I'm like almost at a 5 out of 5 with this. I'm very close. This is still fantastic. Still very good. And as it warms up, maybe it just gets better, guys. Super silky, super drinkable, ridiculously drinkable. Got this chocolate cake, ganache, fudgy thing, dark chocolate thing, milk chocolate, vanilla thing, all underneath. Really good beer. Tough to beat on the value on this beer and just the recipe. So I will say maybe a touch worse than other years, but if it is, it's not by much. So still one of my favorites on the market, even in today's standards. Guys, I'm going to go with a 4.29 out of 5. That's where I stand today with the 2023 Lagunitas Willettized Coffee Stout. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Dan, and until next time, guys, Prost!